Hello, everyone. Welcome to LOA Uncorked. This is Holli.
And this is Jeanna.
And we're already laughing.
I know.
Okay, we're dying laughing. We already told our new best friend that she's going on vacation with us. We just met her 3 minutes ago.
And you're already bossing me around. So, I mean, this is
it's
perfect
true.
form. Yes.
We have Mary Jo Lorei in the house. And I'm telling you what a beautiful, beautiful force she is, Jeanna. And I feel it already. Now, we are going to hold up. Come see us on YouTube. Practical Inspirations, where the bumper sticker meets the road. Okay, and it
Best
is,
line ever. So
listen,
good.
She's an author. It is a gorgeous book. We're going to talk about this. She's an accomplished facilitator.
Yes.
She's a master coach and a self-mastery mentor. I'm going to find out whether we need to be self-mastered. Okay.
I'm all about it. Sign me up. Yep.
Anybody who wants to go to the next level, and we're always talking about let's up level.
Level up.
She's saying next level. Mm-hmm. She's loads of experience working with everybody, I think, including, by the way, unicorns. That's what she's got, unicorns. And she also shares our core value of F, U, and fun.
I didn't think it was going to be a C and a K. So
Yeah, there was going to be nothing nasty there. She's a compassionate mirror, a stealth truth seeker, and is devoting to living vibrantly. And you know what she told us? Part eagle, part angel.
Part eagle, part angel.
Welcome, Mary Jo Lorei.
Hi, Mary Jo. Welcome.
Yay!
You know what? Even if it has a CK, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, that word can come before the fun. Just fucking fun.
Yes.
Fucking fun. Exactly.
Oh my God. Good to be here with you.
Welcome, welcome. So on our podcast, we typically ask our guests to kind of just share a little bit about like the highlights of Mary Jo, so that it just allows our audience to get to know you a little bit better at a pretty high clip before we kind of dive into the conversation, just to kind of ground everything today. So if you wouldn't mind kind of walking us through the big highlights of part angel, part eagle, Mary Jo.
It's full, baby. And I get people talk about my wingspan a lot, because as you can see,
I love it.
So as you asked me that question, one of the things that like my ego mind almost instantly goes to, the blind, it was the original story, the blind man and the elephant. 9 blind people trying to figure out an elephant. Each one thinks they know what it is. There's going to be some facet I'm going to leave off. Like I'm going to quiet that voice with, you're not going to be able to get it all. But if you ask me for highlights, I hear defining moments. I'm living vocationally right now as a result of knowing I could listen different than other people when I was little. I don't know why I knew what I knew. And I'm not psychic. Haven't developed that. There's an intuition, but I could hear music over lyrics in a way. So people could say one thing, but I knew they meant something else. And then it was kind of weird. So I kind of tapped it down. I laugh and say I've been a professional listener almost since I could work. I went from bartender to hairstylist to personal development trainer and coach. So I've been listening for a living for decades.
Yeah, for sure.
My parents, who showed me the way out of a pit because they were alcoholics. It was peak experience when I was young. High school self-identity was all during those years. And then they brought themselves back up out of there. Like, I'll never forget the imprint of what it takes and what that means. I fine-tuned my listening. I had a baby sister. So I had to step into the house and know without seeing anything what was coming to know whether or not to bring her in or hide her in the shed.
Yeah, you become hyper-vigilant.
Yeah.
Totally. So this like inner knowing listening became a fine-tuned skill set that I started developing, that I just kept continuing to develop. So that gift, which I believe gifts come with some responsibility. I've been gifted with this. And my responsibility is be a vehicle for people to hear themselves. And that's totally my purpose. That's what I live for. That's what I love from. I say all the time the context of the work I do, because having a paid vocation is kind of a tangled mess sometimes. I don't know the way. I know a way. And when people try it on, they usually find their way. Because I'm not here to tell anybody how to be themselves. That's just so arrogant. I can't even say it without kind of going, "Rrr." However, I do know patterns about human conditioning. I believe in somatic work. I think the emotional body, intellectual body, and physical body are all three to be tended and health generated in all of them. And one of the ways is, and it's kind of what I love about the way you two work together, you hone each other the way you are for each other. So when I hear you joke about self-mastery, you're in it. You individuals have been mastering the self of you. And one of the ways you do it is use each other as a honing.
For sure.
Bring this version of you out. So when I say self-mastery mentor, I know sometimes we need a honing stone to cut through the bullshit because we can't always see ourselves the way others can. So I mentor that. And I got to know with no uncertain terms, and I get challenged. And well, here we go. I didn't know I was going to get this emotional right off the bat, but here's a highlight moment. Here's how I move through life. If this weren't needed so much, the world wouldn't be like it is. And the world wouldn't be like it is if there weren't some of that in me. So my work of mastering me as the best self I can possibly be is opening that possibility for everyone to, and then creating a world that works for everyone.
Wow.
I know. Let's just take that in.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that is a big, bold, beautiful statement, and one that certainly I resonate with too.
Deeply appreciate the respect and the space.
Wow. So where to even begin? Like, I have so many questions about, so let's talk about your feeling, because you said you hear music over lyrics sometimes. And just this, did you actually hear things, or was it the sensing feeling, like knowing inside, or was it truly like an audible? Because I'm always so curious at how people get their downloads, get their intuition, how that shows up for them. So I'm curious how that showed up for you.
The best way I can describe it, especially in the terms when I started experiencing it, is I would remember things I don't know.
Oh.
Okay.
And, y'all go everywhere. So we're going to go everywhere today. Because I made an oath to myself when I did my prayers this morning, talked about it here, like, I'm not going to filter here.
Yeah.
I knew the young guy that impressed all the adults was dangerous. And when he took advantage of me at 5 years old, I knew. And he said all the right things, and everybody knew. And why don't you like him? And why don't, and I just knew. I knew. But there was no proof. There was no proof. And again, that moment, one of my greatest teachers about, listening deeply, don't need anybody else to believe me to make it true. Can't say I was that bold at 5 to really start practicing that, but it was a defining moment. Parents telling me everything's okay, and I know it's not.
Right.
The thumbs off.
So true.
The colors are dull. The like, something's off here. And I mean, dogs and babies, they'll tell you who's who like that. So it's kind of like that having that, this isn't lining up. They're saying this, but I'm hearing that. Or knowing to just go put my arms around somebody. And it turns out they were just having a moment where they felt so alone. And there I was. Having that experience again and again. And I think I'll pause there.
So there's part of me that so I was very sensitive, and I cut it off very early. So, you know, in my childhood experiences, and I shut that down. So I didn't even know that I knew. I didn't know anything. In fact, you lose, you lose confidence in what you do know. Mm-hmm. And so we were just talking about this, Jeanna and I was like, even at my advanced age, I used to ask Jeanna, how am I feeling? I don't even know. Like I had taken, and so how did you keep yourself, you know, because we had drinking in my family, we had all kinds of, you know, stuff in my family too. And how did you know that? And it felt like I stopped remembering. Like I couldn't remember. I can't remember my childhood very well. Like I don't remember things, and it's like a piece of my life that I don't recall because it didn't seem vibrant. You talk about living vibrant. I don't remember anything vibrant.
The colors were dull.
The colors were dull. And when she talks about her life,
God,
her colors, like her childhood, her colors are bright, and I'm like eagerly listening, and I was like, okay, is life even like that? And so I'm getting to a question. So how do you not lose yourself? How do you become this and I think it's intuition, this intuitive, and listening with intuition is pretty damn powerful. And that's what you're talking about. How do you stay confident in your thoughts, feelings, what you do know?
You're knowing,
because I would convince myself I don't know what I'm talking about. How was that a growth process for you, or did you just always hang on to that?
Once we got there, that was a good question.
I'm going to model it.
Just kidding you.
Yeah.
First, I'm modeling. So you talk a lot about your sensitivity to other people's energy. So when you guys, what's the energetic hygiene? Is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Like that knowingness to what's mine, what's not mine, like all of that. So that understanding of that, like sensitivity is the perfect word to use for that. So are you compassionate with yourself around that? Mm-hmm. Because the question almost seems like maybe I should have been developing that. Mm-hmm. But you have been.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sensitivity to the cacophony that's out there. And that's real. That's real. Otherwise you wouldn't be so permeable. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know that, but I know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For
so
sure.
True. Couldn't have said it better, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I will tell you, I turned my back on it, shut it down. It would still pop in, but I went through years and again, lost my confidence, again, having that uncertainty at home and what have you. But then it was like, as it started to come back, and especially when I went into hairstyling was like a big kind of uptick in it. As I became more into my sense of self in my early 20s, I'll say this comparison because this will make a lot more sense for more people. People that have a great sense of humor or who are funny are willing to tell jokes that fall flat. They're willing to face plant. They're willing to go, that one didn't work. Okay, let's rework that. Let's see, was it my audience? Was it where I was focused? Was it So same thing. Like I love laughter. Laughter, making people laugh is my passion. I love laughter, which is one of the reasons why I love your show so much. But that, if I weren't willing to be wrong about my intuitive hits, I wouldn't learn which ones are intuition and which ones are an expectation I brought into the scenario or an assumption I made because of who you are and where you came from and all of that. Not all of that's valuable, but they can start to blend together. And I've got to be willing to put it out there and go, oh, not even close. Okay. And then kind of what was present that I got that misread or that misstep without making it personal, without making myself wrong, without running down the rabbit hole of, see, this is why you don't do that because it doesn't work. Instead go, this is a great learning moment for the difference between the two.
So it's an active practice for you. So you were willing to go, it's so important for me to figure out what's intuition, what's intuitive, and what I'm bringing, my lens that I'm putting on the situation, me, Mary Jo, is putting on the situation, and figuring out which is which so that you can continue to trust more the intuition and not second guess yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
That's brilliant.
Sometimes super subtle.
Yeah.
So this is just popping up. I wouldn't have gone here except you just kind of stimulated that. I would tell the same story all day long behind the chair, but I'd change it based on who was sitting in the chair.
Who's sitting there? Okay.
So me and the dickhead had a huge fight. Okay, that was the title of the story, but the content was totally different depending on who was sitting there.
Fascinating.
And then it would be like, oh yeah, see, this is totally working for them, and it just drew out something for them. Or in this, I'm mea culpaing how, I'm the one that connected the dick in the head, so it's probably whatever. So
he owes me a lot. Yes, exactly. Oh my god. Oh my god, I love that.
Tears rolling down their face because they were like, my god, I need to go home and apologize to my partner because I've been blaming them and that was just one of those things that would be one of those kind of little ways to just open that up and see.
That's so good. Wow. So you use that intuitive hit or knowing about the person to use your time with them and your personal experiences in a way that served them or contributed or you
if
knew might
possible.
Right. Wow.
If at all possible.
Damn, I love that.
Well,
wow.
So I've seen you in videos in facilitating huge group sessions with these people, and I mean it is infectious, not in a disease kind of way, in a really good way.
Not spreadable.
Not spreadable. Well, it is spreadable.
Well, it is spreadable.
It
Yeah.
is
But
spreadable.
she's not
Actually.
spreading. Not
she's
everybody.
spreading.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but everybody wants it, like unicorns. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants what she's got.
Mary Jo's a super spreader.
She's a super spreader.
Oh my God.
All the good ways.
Please don't put Mary Jo super spreader on Google. Something weird will come up.
We won't.
We won't title this podcast.
We
Mary
won't
Jo.
charge you if
Super spreading with Mary Jo Lorei.
You're right. That doesn't have a good content.
No.
But I will say, if you want to use it at your next conference or speaking engagement, we will not charge you.
No, exactly.
Even though it was
And I
clearly
will
our creative idea.
Awesome. So you are in these big events where you're trying to come in and make meaningful change. Mm-hmm. Given what you just told us, like, how do you? First of all, I gotta know: do you plan for it? Okay, like, what do you plan for it?
Yes, we want to know that.
Yes, we do. And how do you read that room and to give people what they need? And I know reading is part of listening to people too. So what's your process?
Number one, before I start anything is express my gratitude to what I believe is greater than us, that I will be the conduit, because it's not about me. I'm the vehicle. I'm the instrument, if you will. And that's usually often my prayer is, thank with deep gratitude that I get to be an instrument of this kind of thing.
For sure.
So as my mentor used to say to me, meet them before you meet them. So before I see a face, before I walk out onto a stage, before I go out into the center of a circle, I literally just open unconditionally. Whatever's coming in, I can handle it.
Wow.
That's real vulnerability, isn't I'll even let the bad shit in. It's no, whatever's coming in serves. There's no bad shit. So I'm just going to open myself wide and meet that. And then I hold a group audience like an organism. So it is its own being. So I'm listening for that collective. And then what are the individuals in the organism? So when I'm speaking to one, it's my intention that all will find a handle. So I'm working with one, and I'm pretty bold about that. If there's going to be value here today, it's not going to be what you hear. If there's going to be value today, it's going to be how you use what you hear. I'm the value. The way you use the value. And then when I'm talking to the collective, I listen to that. What are the entry points that would have as many people be able to walk into this and see themselves and generate a new perspective and a new possibility?
So you even, I would imagine every individual that serves something up for the collective, the greater community that's there with you, is intended to be served up and does serve the collective. If you think about it from that standpoint, we have to trust that those things that are being served up are going to be the best and highest use for the collective.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, including even seeing a moment like when somebody steps up and it's, what are they even talking about? And I don't even get that. Or no, we're going to have to go again. There's a pause point there for people to hear. Wherever you just took yourself, does that ever get you disconnected from what's in front of you anyplace else?
So good.
Right now, I think they are different than me. Instead of looking at the Venn diagram, how is that me? And my God, if I ever got a chance to just have a magic wand, it would be to like sweep that over humanity and get, if it's alive out there, it's alive in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Because if there was a genie with 3 wishes and a lamp, I'd give all my wishes to you.
Yes.
Okay.
No doubt. But for sure.
You get my
all
wishes.
Of them.
All of them.
But we have talked on the podcast quite a bit about, if you're, we call it spark. We don't like the word trigger, quite honestly.
We're trying to rebrand
we're
sparks.
Trying to,
or triggers to sparks or something.
Well, and I love
trigger
that.
is like shooting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not good.
But that's what we're talking about.
The spark, yeah.
Really trigger, the reason the word trigger is used is it's that sensitivity.
Yeah.
It is one touch will set off an explosion or a reaction, often unintended. So I love the fact that you're rebranding it away from a violent image into, because spark does the same thing.
It does, for sure.
The unexpected occurs.
Right.
Right. And so there's no judgment on a spark. It's just there.
Right.
And
it definitely ignites something. So it ignites something in you. If you're ignited by something that someone else is doing and you're just frustrated about it, it's like you were talking about your participant who was like sitting there, I don't even get it. Why are we talking about this? Holli would always say, because, we've worked together so closely that she will always say, Jeanna, that's not about them. This is about you.
This is our honing.
You're
this is our mirroring.
Yeah, this is our mirroring.
This is our mirroring going on.
You're frustrated. You're not. You think it's about him or her. It is about you. That is because you don't like something in yourself that they reflect back to you, or they're showing you, or that you don't want to deal with, or something. It's always about you. Always.
But always. And here's the allergies. Cause a reaction in you. You're like, again, we always make it like it's the thing that's causing the reaction as opposed to how I meet it causes the reaction or the response or the. And so I'm giving you a sneak peek because I do what's called a truth seed. So speaking of rebranding, I was doing truth bombs until that first year of COVID, when after George Floyd and after the school violence, and it was like one more, I just couldn't be another explosion with fallout. I wanted to be more intentional than that. So truth seeds come out every Tuesday, and the one that's coming up is they couldn't push your buttons if you didn't bring them.
Okay, so everybody needs to go to her website, which we're going to have in the notes, and get these truth seeds. I love that they're not bombs. I'm so happy you rebranded. That makes my heart sing, and that's so funny.
It's so good.
So every time that is, it's like, well, I almost sometimes, I'll bring my button and I will back into somebody just to get it touched. Because I know, you know what I mean? And then we go, and you push my buttons. Well, you had them.
Yeah. You backed your ass right into me. Yes, exactly, with your button.
So I gotta know. I gotta know about. All right, Mary Jo. So you're coming into an organization. I love this opening because oftentimes I always set intentions, but I don't do necessarily an opening, which I love that. And then I was thinking about our corporate office, and I left. She's still there, just to be clear about that. So it's my old corporate executive team that is completely dysfunctional. And you don't have to say anything, Jeanna. You don't have to say yay or nay. This is Holli's opinion only. And we would bring in people to kind of help us function. And what you see is there's no level of vulnerability for people. And they can't get there because it's not safe. There's no trust. And is that something you combat, or would you just shake your head and say goodbye? I'm out of here.
I'm going to go find myself a unicorn.
Good luck for you.
It's quite simply, there's only two things that you can change. You either change what you want, or you change how you're getting it. You know, so if how I'm getting it, how I'm going about it isn't bringing it, I got two choices. Change what I'm doing with this still in mind, or I redesign what this is based on what I'm learning. So the success of my team, you know, and again, when I do professional coaching, because I bring emotional intelligence into that, I do mostly relationship work, but I get often brought in because, of course, relationship is exactly what you're talking about. When's the last time I really checked in on what success for this team means? Because we're having success, but it's harder to get there. So now the new success is, how do we keep this level of success and create more ease? Well, now I'm going to redesign that. Or is it, we've limited here because of the way we're working, and then everybody enrolled in the new outcome because it's a team outcome? Then all of a sudden, is vulnerability going to be necessary? Because it's not trained in the corporate environment, and that's not wrong. That's not wrong. And thank goodness we're in this whole new evolution. And again, I love that you're in the languaging thing, because I'm a big wordsmith. I don't believe
words matter.
You are evolutionary. Revolution disappears. Mindful evolution completely cuts off the need for revolution. So mindful evolution in the corporate system, in the way we're working, in the way your son is looking for fulfillment now, not just filling a paycheck, because they know now, they've seen it, we've shown it to them. That is going to require now that we are going to say interpersonal relationships are a part of unlimited power and possibility in our team and our company's results, vision, accomplishment, all of that become possible. So that vulnerability in a business suit, that's what I like to call it. What's vulnerability look like in a business suit? Because we suit up like it's armor.
Yeah, we do.
So
we ask people to strip it down. So we got to hear that, like, kind of, and the result I want from the vulnerability, people are holding back. People aren't going to the source, I'm guessing, because that's pretty common when I hear that in corporate environment. So people don't go to the source. So there's workaround and talk arounds, and then people don't trust each other. And now we're not moving as far as we could because there's a lack of trust, or there's just not the relationship basis we could have. So you understanding its possibility and then speaking it in terms they can understand. Here's where we could go if we'd really take this on. And you're getting some feedback so far. You haven't said it in a way that landed for them. That's all. Because you see it. You see it.
Yeah. Well, sure. I do think that there's definitely something about bringing somebody from the outside, but for you, Mary Jo, I feel that, and we've seen this even with our podcast and doing whatever consulting that we've done, is that you bring forth an energy that people feel that allows them to deliver their own truth seeds, which helps, that comes into a solution, which is another solution, then people start, it's like a domino effect of people starting to not fall down, but to open up is what I think, an energetic opening up, like a lotus flower opening up.
Exactly.
And that's probably what's happening in your, I mean, your company should hire her. That's what I think.
I know. For sure.
And
Well,
I gotta tell you,
think,
checking judgment, though, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this transparently for my own good and have it out there in the world. I am a judgmental motherfucker sometimes. I just
oh
don't.
my God, I love that.
I know.
I am. You know, it's part of our training as biological creatures.
is.
I got to decide. And we always talk about the, the lizard brain and the fight or flight. And I say it's fight it, fuck it, eat it, or run. That's what's getting triggered.
I like how you rebranded that also.
That's
even
awesome.
better. Yeah.
I got to make that decision in a split second.
Yeah.
Totally gets.
I love that he is in there too.
I love it. Thank you for putting that in.
So yeah, sure, of course. And to just understand that in those moments that coming back to, a conscious step over, that's going to drive me, because right now, whatever doesn't feel safe. So when that comes, it's almost like a caress on its cheek. I know, sweetheart, you're right. What a bunch of buttheads. I'm going to put you back in your car seat. I'm going to put the pacifier back in your mouth. And I'm going to get back to driving, because I'm up to bigger things. And then pretty soon the ego takes its nap like it's supposed to, and I'm off to bigger things. So I'm not judgment free. I'm just getting smarter every day. Which ones are not for the higher good? Which ones just need to be burped? Which one needs to get a there, you're right, it's not fair, and then get back to work kind of thing. Does that make sense?
I love that.
It
does make sense.
It was making me nuts. I couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah.
I beat myself up for so long, sitting at the knee of these gurus going, Gandhi's kids must have thought he was an asshole at some point. Like, that's the way my mind
knows everything all the time.
All of that, right? There has to be some like, you kids are such a disappointment. I think we all have that. So if we don't make it wrong, it has less likelihood of hijacking the experience.
I was going to ask you earlier, and you're talking about it right now, I believe. Maybe one of your tools in your toolkit to manage your own energy, because you talked about opening up and letting it all come in. Talk back to that energetic hygiene and the work that you do, and being so in tune with and so open. Many and as open and gifting of your own power and energy to other people. Some obviously part of it is putting it in perspective, which you just talked about. Burp, put them in their car seat, put the pacifier in, and keep going, because I'm busy. I'm staying up here. I'm at a higher level. I have higher level work to do than to pull myself down to this stuff, right? But I'm curious what other practices or ways in which you manage your own energy and stay full and healthy and able to keep going.
The distinction between holding the energy and absorbing it is powerful.
Yes.
That takes some discipline. That takes some, that was not clean there. That I definitely took that one on, because now I'm turning around and I'm manifesting it somewhere else, or inflicting it on one of my loved ones or what have you. So, I love the phrase hollow bone. So I become a hollow bone. I let the marrow move through me so it can touch me. I can hold it. I can shape it. I can direct it. But I never get so lofty or false belief that somehow it is to be mine. Like, that's me being a being that's beyond what I am. No, I'm here to hold this for you. So I can hold your sadness. I can hold the pain you're feeling with you and hold you in it. And some of my own might even get triggered and start to move and get molten too. And we can meet there. but my pain isn't your pain and yours isn't mine. And if I do somehow start to, because before I knew what that was, I always tell this story all the time. I left doing hair in Beverly Hills for this reason and this reason alone. I wasted a lot of time feeling sad. I absorbed that bravado-ness that would come in the door all the time, that, you know, how many rooms I have, and, you know, not all of them. Please don't make
for sure.
that part of California disingenuine. But there was a lot of proving yourself in the atmosphere.
Sure. Yeah.
And what I heard underneath that, again, it's one of those knowing things, is I'm not enough. And I would come home like dragging. I was so sad. I was so sad at the lack of self-awareness and self-love, and that's when I finally woke up the one day and went, you know, this really isn't for me. This isn't where I do want to be. And that's when I started doing. I also do light meditations. So glow from the inside out, and as the light pushes out to my edges, it just pushes everything out. So it leaves that permeable state, and then my light continues on beyond my physical shape. It's one of my favorite meditations to do. And I send it out around me. Now, out there, it mingles with other lights, but in here, in my form, mine glowing from the inside out. And there are times when I know I need to soak. I think it was one I recently listened to. It talked about salt baths.
Yeah.
Like those are great. And sometimes I need a energetic silkwood shower, frankly, because I just like put myself into the heart of it, especially when I go into hard to reach places and areas of life where, you know, I'm working with, you know, kids in rural Africa. You know, I take that on, and that heartbreak it's breaking my heart.
Yeah.
And then I need to, again, for my greatest good, feel that, be inspired by that. And I do need to cleanse that off, because my job wasn't to be taken down by what I'm in the middle of. My job was to rise up and create that possibility for everything for me.
God, so beautiful. Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Well, it's interesting. You talk about hair, but I think of you as a philosopher, a creative, obviously a writer. We have this in our hands, practical inspiration. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful books ever.
Really,
and, you know, laughter is lubrication. I love that. Okay, it has everything in here.
I'm so chafing.
I mean, you are like, for somebody to be able to write what's in here and the philosophy, but I mean, it's just so deep and impactful, and you are a writer, and it's about beauty, and I'd love to know her astrology sign. She has to have like a bunch of like air, and you have any Libra in you, and fire, like
well, I know
or
Sagittarius. I'm end of November.
Sagittarius. Yeah. So philosophy, you're a philosopher, a creative, you know, and a go-getter, you know, all those things just wrapped up in even one sign.
So good.
Such a beautiful book. I love this book. We'll actually link it in the notes. How did you become a writer? Like, how did you? I mean, you're a philosopher first and a writer. I don't know how this happened, so please tell us.
Well, can I also ask? It's similar along those lines.
Yes.
Before the how you became a writer, like, where did the concept to write come from? Like,
I love that, Jeanna.
Where'd that come from?
So great. Because writing in general, something, I'm storytelling. I'm Irish on my mother's side. So if you can't tell a good story, like, you obviously were the male person's kid. So
it is the most beautiful art. I to be a great storyteller, regardless of what you do in life, to tell a good story is
the cultures that are closer critical. To that aren't so developed. And I'm making quotes for those of you that are only listening, finger quotes, because that's how it was handed down. So before the written word, there was how I told the story, and then it was told again and again and again. So that be able to create a reality for someone else through words. And the Irish culture is rich in that, to delight, to bring about the angst of it, to, emulate another experience, or to tell you why, if you don't keep your knees together, you will go to hell. But it sounded a lot like an Irish accent, right? That was what was going to happen. So I loved that. So I was an oratory storyteller for a long time. And then I knew there was a book. I wanted to write a book, and I kept talking about it. And I tell this story because it's the quickest way I know how to do it. I kept trying to give birth on the day of conception, and it wasn't going well. I couldn't write it. I want it done before I started. So I have a beautiful friend who's also a writing coach, and she, just get your ass in the chair. Just get your ass in the chair. And I love Julia Cameron's work, The Artist's Way. And, you create to create. When you go to Burning Man, the essence of where the root system of that whole experience is watching people throw what they spent how many human hours constructing onto a fire because they only created it for the joy of creating it. So started to allow that to come back into it. And then part of the how, as you say, it's a really great distinction, Jeanna, was what do I want to cause? When I picture somebody holding this thing in their hands, and what came clear as a bell without question or doubt, and made the whole path just open right up, is I want people to be able to hear themselves. So how can I stimulate in a way that not what they're reading, but what they're hearing inside as they read gives them some new fuel, some new opening, some new perspective or possibility. And then the title, there's so much inspiration. It's just, I'm just such a junkie. I just I've got the little stand and the needle on my arm, and let's go. I'm taking this with me everywhere. Come on. However, then what? So how do I put this now into, yes, look at that bumper sticker, and it says coexist and all those beautiful stuff. Did that motherfucker just cut me off in that BMW? What an asshole. And now I'm right back to that, instead of taking a bumper sticker that's still on the bumper in front of me and actually putting it into practical application. So then this came about as, why not? And back to your point from before, Holly, is most corporate, when they bring in an outside person, it's the lack of practice afterwards that has those things fall apart. If you're going to change a culture, it requires real discipline. So then once that became about, it's like, hey, here's ways to do it. Here's how to actually influence your life. Here's how to put it into, now look at your results. So there's a couple, and they're both I guess late 70s. So for a year, they took one of these and read it every day for a week, and then dialogued it. And here's what I learned about it throughout my day yesterday. And then they'd read it again. Okay, and I'm inspired today. And then they'd deep in it. They did that for a year. They sent me these notes along the way. That was just so beautiful. And again, how much do you love that they still wanted to discover something about each other?
No doubt.
Well, that's the relationship I want.
Yeah, for sure.
Total. So that is how I became a writer.
So I love that. So, and I think for sure, go and pick up Mary Jo's book. It is
But get the physical book, because it's so
physical
gorgeous.
book. It'd be a phenomenal gift for a dear friend or a family member. Beautiful.
It's beautiful to set out on your table. And the other thing that I want to say is that I kind of like, because I started chronologically and then I realized I didn't really want to do that, is pick up the book. And I did it on my Kindle, but now I do have the book. Thank you, Mary Jo. We have the book,
and
Jeanna.
Just open,
And I just open to what I need. So I asked Spirit, well, what do I need today? Because you don't have to go in chronological order.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
The whole format was user-friendly.
Yes.
So a gentleman named Chris Kish, by the way, did the art direction. He's a genius.
Beautiful.
He's just wonderful. By the way, all the nature pictures go through the 4 seasons.
Oh, is that what's okay.
Oh, yes.
Because I was like, 50, is that just incredible? So 52 is one a week for a year. 52 is roughly 2 months time if you do 5 and take 2 days off every day, or spontaneous, open it up to wherever you were. So this book is totally renewable, which is what I love, because next time you read it, you'll find out where you've gotten to since you read it the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is what I wanted. It's the size it is because it fits in a backpack or goes on a coffee table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
a beautiful coffee table book for sure. And I love the idea of that couple that just worked, because you're right. Unless you put it into practice and stay with it and hold each other accountable, it's all the things that we used to do when we were building our friendship and working together. It's this commitment to one another to practice and to want to know or to understand or to support or whatever it is, and hang with it for a bit. I love that idea.
Well, because you're never really done with it. Okay, so that's the other thing, is that you meet it where you're at the moment you meet it. And then a year later, as you're becoming more self-mastered, you meet it at a new place, which has more insight.
Right.
That's
or you can see where you can also see where you've retracted too, right?
Absolutely. Where I have backed up, backed away, where I took the aha moment and didn't foster it, and became another thing to sit on the shelf or beat myself up with because now I know better, but I didn't create any real change.
Right.
And self-mastery is just that understanding. So when I say self-mastery mentor, it's, you got to know if you're going to be in this, you got to be a student for life. Because who you are today is not who you were yesterday, is not who you're going to be tomorrow. You are going to be the continual movement and transformation of how you've been meeting life around you and inside of you. So that, to know a year from now, to see where I'm at and see what has grown and see what maybe has gotten off track because it grew, but grew in a way that didn't serve what I say I want or what I know I'm ultimately born for. That's the mastery piece right there, is just get excited. And it's one of my practical inspirations in there is the longest relationship you will ever be in is with you. And it's that relationship being treated like the one we want, the one we were taught to crave, the one. There you go. You want freshness. You want a long-term relationship that's got some spark and some heat and some laughter and some joy and some support and all of that. Well, you're already in the perfect situation for it.
Yep. With yourself. Oh my God, I love that.
I think it's the perfect gift.
It is
this and a candle. Okay. A really smelly, nice candle. And maybe a bottle of wine.
The candle is optional. The book is not.
Champagne
Right.
or something. But I think it's a great gift idea, because not only is it beautiful, and it's just, we can gush all day about it.
It's really fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I had written down, and I don't know where this came from, so you're going to have to help me, Mary Jo, but I had written down, how important is it to integrate the masculine and the feminine influences when you're coaching people? Is that something that you actually consciously do, or? And I have no idea why I wrote this down, but I did, so I thought I'd ask it.
My favorite playgrounds.
Oh,
That's what I wrote it down.
Maybe I caught it on your one.
I don't think you've ever asked that.
I've never asked that question, but I want to hear her. I think she has a really unique perspective. I don't know what it is, but I don't. Anyway, okay.
Curious.
The philosophy that I operate from, and there was a Institute of Medicine gave this framework that Yale University uses when they're doing studies on how to bring about health ever at a higher level. When it came to exploration of this, there is identity, which is born, genetics, genitalia, male, female. Then identity, how I recognize myself, how I operate in the world, which became more man and woman. And then there is the polaric energies, which is masculine and feminine, and all or both. I operate in all or both. We are taught concepts around them based around gender roles and identity roles. And I love busting those up, because all beings have both. You couldn't have one without the other. Like they work in harmony together. So when you look at the concept of life, seed and egg make a human. That's the only way we figured it out so far. So that blending together to create life is where I see masculine and feminine come together and create life. So working with those two kind of energies, whether it's implicit or explicit, is vital. Because the energies bring about different access points and different effectiveness. So corporate world, again, highly masculine. And not just because it was male dominated, because then females coming in imitated men and believed they were being masculine, and they weren't. They were imitating the men that came before them. That didn't make it masculine. In fact, often it was unhealthy masculine. So not power, dominance. Not goal-oriented. It was conquering. And I love this distinction. Healthy masculine competes to better the self. Unhealthy masculine competes to beat the others. Right? So if I understand that and that dance within individual, then when I'm meeting situations, people, events, the ratio of my masculine and feminine that can come about can increase my effectiveness the way I'm meeting it. So when I'm working with people, and I actually do some workshop around that have a little bit heavier, there's a relationship workshop I'm a part of that brings that about quite a lot for the intimate partnership work. And then it's about your relationship with life work. And the conditioning that we get to challenge and bust up is so gratifying. Like the apology for either, and women are conditioned different than men. It's shifting right now, but to lie and say we haven't been conditioned is just foolhardy.
Right.
To apologize both for my masculine and my feminine. We've evolved to that. I'm still apologizing for being so ballsy, or I'm a bitch, instead of owning I'm bold, because that's what healthy masculine looks like in a female form. It's boldness. It is directional. It is, I'm going to penetrate this situation and create life, without a doubt. And then I'm apologizing for my feminine because it's weak and it's indecisive. It doesn't know where, instead of going, no, it's actually the adaptability to meet what is without being attached and be able to formulate the best way to move forward, no matter what the size of the container. So if those can work together, and my own partnership is with my beloved, which is, oh my God, 4 weeks from today, I'll be somebody's wife.
Are you serious?
I'm kidding. I'm a little giddy too. Woo!
Oh my God.
57. Woo!
Oh my gosh.
I'm
That's amazing.
We understand to be our fullest combination, the individuals have to be responsible in their ratio of masculine, feminine, and then we dance in ours together. So in our intimate partnership, my energy is primarily feminine, but I waited knowing I was going to meet the masculine strong enough not to be threatened by mine.
Yeah.
And he is so admiring of me when I'm in my full eagle wingspan. He goes, watch her fly, man. Watch this. Instead of, do you have to put me in your shadow?
Yeah.
Like he checks that real quick. Or he'll say, yeah, I'm starting to feel overshadowed or less than. I'm competing with you right now. And we'll talk about that.
Oh, wow.
I love it. Well, congratulations. This is so exciting.
Oh my goodness. So 4 weeks from today, you said? Oh my God. How exciting. Congratulations.
Thanksgiving, Bri.
Yeah. Oh.
So, you're right. Okay, so I grew up and was very conditioned in the corporate world and had to emulate the masculine to be seen as a leader, So I rose up to an executive, and but I was always, but I could see so many women, even those younger than I, that would come up and they're living the unhealthy masculine. I've tried to in the beginning, I don't think I balanced. At the end, I think I was a really nice balance. But the problem was what we have going on now in corporate world is that you still get told, you know, you're not speaking up enough. And then it's like, you're too scary. You need to be more humble. Okay. Like, and I was like, well, the target continues to change, you know, like for women. And then what's happened now, and I feel bad for men too. Men don't know where to go either. Okay. Yeah. So like, this is no bad man. No. I love working with men. Mm-hmm. And then the men are like, you know, if you hold them accountable, then you're a bully. Now we're getting called names. Okay. So it's a real challenge. Yeah. Beyond just male, female. We don't, you know, I mean, there's bigger challenges than that for others, but you know, there's a real challenge with, and a cry to balance the healthy masculine and healthy feminine in the corporate world.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and frankly, unhealthy is still creating results.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So that's always going to.
Well, the system's built on it, right?
Speed bump the evolution of this, because, you know, we'll go back to, you know, Gecko. Greed is good. Whatever it takes. Who cares what you stand on, as long as, you know, you're taking home that bonus at the end of the year. And then that gets applauded and celebrated in a way that's, you know, has people still want to achieve that.
Yep.
And
you're
right. Pushing up through the cement of that, like, you know, watch grass grow through the sidewalk. It's coming. Fulfillment is now a part of success like it never has been before.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I had to make enough success to finance my fulfillment, which means for 4 weeks out of the year, I got to go to places that make me feel better about myself for the other 48.
It's a vacation we were talking about. Right, exactly.
You know, I'm going to, you know, for 4 weeks, I want to be who I want to be and have that gratification, and then go back in and do so that I can finance that. And I don't believe all money jobs are wrong, because some people do finance a life of fulfillment through making money. They don't find their fulfillment in their work. And I humbly and wholeheartedly celebrate that, applaud that, especially the awareness that that's what I'm doing.
Yes,
exactly. It's choice. Mm-hmm.
Somebody still needs to make sandwiches. We're all going to change the world, but somebody's still going to make sandwiches. A friend of mine says that all the time. So who's going to make the sandwiches? Well, somebody's got.
Well, I love it, because we talk so much about conscious creation as a lifestyle. That you are in charge of the outcome, and you have all the power, opportunity, obligation, for that matter, to do that. That's your job. And I hadn't thought about as actively what you said earlier, Mary Jo, was that you apply your masculine or your feminine filter or approach or way of being in service to the situation. And not so much what you want to feel maybe in the moment, but what will serve the right outcome, or the best outcome, or the most efficient outcome, which I had never thought about that. I've never thought about that before. Not a conscious thought.
Great.
Mm-hmm. So I love that idea in terms of, you know, for our listeners as well, just think about that in terms of what's in service, and how do I use these two superpowers within me and balance them and acknowledge them and appreciate them and utilize them in a way that serves.
Play with their ratio. Yeah. It's actually pretty rare that any given situation requires 100% of one.
Right.
It's very rare.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Yeah.
But, and again, thank you for sharing that awareness, because I love to hear how it just stated in you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, serving the outcome is what I'm here to serve. Otherwise, I'm going to be all about the symptom or the thing that's in the way, and I'm going to put all the energy on solving that, instead of this is a part of getting to here.
Right. Yeah.
And that way.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, this is brilliant.
Well, I have a request.
Yeah.
I think that you need to tell your fiance that we're all going on your honeymoon together. We're all going on vacation.
Who are those two ladies, honey?
Y'all have brought a fire in me that, he's enjoyed. So he'd be all about me being around you and coming home.
Okay, we'll meet you guys at the bar or something.
Yes,
well, at the beach.
You don't have to spend all the time with us,
No.
but just some of it. Yeah.
Tell when I'm like all jazzed up after spending time with you. He's like, yeah.
I love that. Well, our time, sadly,
so great.
is coming to an end. And I know Jeanna and I knew it would be a fun ride today, but I didn't know how fun it would be. And I'm sad. We're sad to see you go. But is there anything else that you like our audience members or that we did not cover sufficiently that you'd like to talk about before we go?
Yeah, it's what I want always to leave people with, and the awareness, or listen deeply to that place that's remembering this instead of hearing it. You are always a divine being, a masterpiece, a 10 out of 10, always. It's your birthright. Now, your behavior, your habits, sometimes even some of your thoughts, words, or deeds may not line up with that, but you're always a divine being, even when you're having a human experience. And in that, let the divinity in you, the masterpiece in you, decide how to meet the current challenge as you come ever closer to actualizing who you were born to be, living your life today.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Well, let's not try and mess that up. That is the right place to
Yay,
lay
Mary Jo
this
Lorei. We're
conversation.
high-fiving you.
Beautiful.
We're giving you kisses. You are a blessing on this earth. Thank you for blessing us today with your presence. We love you. And
thank you for being our new best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so excited. I love you both.
We can't wait to hear about the wedding, and we will stay in touch and hopefully welcome you back some other time to entertain and enlighten us all. It was a ton of fun.
Wonderful. Everybody, we will have everything linked on the show notes for you to go check her out on her website and get her book and buy it for your friends.
All right.
Right.
Bye, everyone.